Today we're talking about the brand new Sigma 20mm f2. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is Anson, and on this channel we talk about filmmaking, specifically budget gear, tutorials, and a look at the projects that I'm working on. So if that's something you're into, consider subscribing. As of like 30 seconds ago, Sigma just launched the new I-Series 20mm f2. Now this joins other I-Series lenses, and more specifically other I-Series lenses in that f2 range. They have the 24, 35, and 65mm f2. So this 20mm joins those other lenses. But how does this 20mm perform? And that we're gonna break down here in this review. Before I get into the review, I do wanna mention that Sigma did loan me this lens to test out, but as always, they're not paying me or telling me anything specifically to say about this lens, and so you can get my full and honest opinion. So with that said, as always, we're gonna break down this lens by image quality, build quality, my overall thoughts, / who I think could be useful for. And let's start with image quality. Now, one thing I want to talk about with image quality is this focal length, this 20mm focal length. At first, I was kind of reluctant to get on board with this focal length because it's not wide enough for some applications, but it's also too wide for others. Like, it's kind of like a weird in between. But the more that I used it, and specifically in the scenario of like street videography or street photography, I really grew to love this focal length, because at the full frame end of things, you have a good wide focal length, and so you can get some good street architectural shots and things like that. But also you can go into Super 35 mode and get that more traditional street photography or street videography focal length. And that's something I got to really love about this lens. And then on top of that, it offers that f2 aperture. So if I get close to a subject, or if I want to isolate a subject a little bit more, this gives me the ability to do that. So like I said before, I really started to love this focal length for its overall versatility, being used both in full frame as well as Super 35 modes on both the Sigma FP and the S1H. Talking about performance, I did feel like this lens was really sharp, even wide open, and it rendered colors really well. And so that's something I was really impressed with this lens. But with the versatility of the focal length and the overall performance, I really was pleased with the overall image quality of this lens. And so with that, let's go over and talk about build quality. Something that stands out about this lens and is new to Sigma lenses is this lens does offer linear focusing. The oversimplification of explaining linear focusing is it does offer a little bit more predictable focus pulling or focus racking if you're using manual focus. I did have to manual focus some of my shots because I was backlighting those shots, and so it's just a lot easier to manually focus those shots, and having that linear focusing was such a game changer. Now beyond that, the physical aspects of the build quality of this lens is just amazing. These I-Series lenses are just miniature tanks, and so really good build quality. Overall, just really happy with it. One thing I'm really happy with this lens is the execution of the manual focus and autofocus switch. With this implementation of the manual focus and autofocus switch, it gives me the ability to really easily switch over to autofocus, get my shot, switch back over to manual focus to lock off that shot, and all of it is just really seamless because of the way that the manual focus and autofocus switch is implemented with this lens. So with the updated linear focusing option, the implementation of the manual focus and autofocus switch, and the overall just sturdiness of the build, I would absolutely say this thing has amazing build quality. Just super impressed with the overall build quality of the 20mm f2. So with image quality and build quality out of the way, what are my overall thoughts and who would I recommend this lens to? If you're a street photographer or street videographer, this is 1000% a lens you should check out, especially if you're an owner of the FP or potentially a Panasonic camera like the S1H or the S5. Like I said before, in full frame, you can get more of those wide shots, and so you can get a little bit more architectural shots. But then in Super 35 mode, you can get a little bit more detail shots or even wide portrait shots. And so this is a really versatile focal length, not to mention with its compact size and weight, it is really great for gimbal use. And one thing I like about it too as well on the Sigma FP is because it's an I-Series lens and native to L mount, you do get the ability, if you use the non-RAW codec, to use the electronic stabilization. Being that this lens is $699 plus tax here in the US, I will say it's a little bit on the pricey side, but I do believe that the overall performance and what you get from this lens is absolutely worth that price tag. And so yes, even though it's a little bit more of a pricier lens, if you are somebody that likes more wide angle filmmaking, maybe street photography or street videography, I would absolutely check out the Sigma 20mm f2. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. And if you do have any questions about this lens, let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Stay safe. Be happy. Support each other. Wash those hands, and I'll see you here next time. Peace.
I reviewed it on my YouTube channel.
You have a YouTube?
Yeah. You watch YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah, I watch.
So I was cleaning the office the other day, and I found this gem, which is just little Anson hanging out. I think I was like 7 here. Yeah, this one's for you, Mom. Hopefully you made it this far. If you did, you're probably up way too late. You should probably go to bed. Love you.